So, guys, we're going to be talking about the U.S. presidential elections, and President Trump seems to have won the U.S. presidential elections. I'm not surprised, to be honest. What do you guys think about this news? You know, I honestly thought he was going to win anyway. I'm not so surprised. I didn't really think the American people believed in Kamala Harris. They didn't really think Kamala Harris had what it takes to be president of America. So Trump winning is not too much of a surprise to me, to be honest. You know, it seems a lot of Americans believe in Trump. Maybe his policies and things like that. I think, to be honest, Americans are not ready to allow a woman lead them as president. Even though they talk about all these gender equality, they understand the dangers of electing a woman, black or mixed race, because because they're not ready for that risk. They believe that women are more emotional and all that. So I don't think they were ready. Americans did not really believe in a what's her name, Kamala Harris presidency, because let's face it, I don't think America is ready for a female president, especially given the current climate, in terms of world peace and world security and all the conflicts. We're all aware of all conflicts all around the world, big conflicts. We know about, Russia, Ukraine. We know what's happening with Israel and Palestine, and now Iran seems to have been involved. So, for them, it was like a risk. I think they more they had more confidence in Trump, somebody that has been a president for even though it was just 4 years, at least he's been a president. He understands world global politics. He understands how to mediate. I mean, while he was in office the first term, you can see the progress he made in North Korea as well, and also with Putin. He knows how to tread cautiously with all these difficult leaders around the world. So I think they were not ready for the female president, to be honest, even though they like to champion gender equality and things of that nature. Also, Americans, let's be honest, Americans don't joke with Israel's security. America is one of the biggest allies of Israel, and and now, greater than ever, Israel seems to be under attack and under siege by all its neighboring countries in the Middle East. Especially Palestine, with Hamas, and also now Iran has seemed to join the foray. So it's a very, very difficult and delicate time for America, especially, and also world politics, especially Middle East, politics, because the Middle East area now is a very, very volatile area. It's a very, very delicate situation in the Middle East, and to give the presidency to Kamala Harris, who is very much inexperienced, in terms of running the office of the United States president. It was just it was a very dangerous and thing that for them to give Kamala Harris the presidency. You know. Also, if you remember, I'm not sure how much you guys follow global politics, but Kamala Harris recently criticized Israel. You know, Kamala Harris recently publicly criticized Israel, even though we all know that Israel, they have a right to defend themselves and all that. She actually publicly criticized Israel. Tabiso says, but she was in office 4 years and has way more political experience than Trump. When you say political experience, yes, she might have political experience at a certain level, but she hasn't been president of the United States of America, and Trump has. There's a very big difference. You might have more experience than me. For example, you might have more. For example, like you might be. Let's say, for example, me and you, we are working as accountants, for example. Let's say me and you, we worked as accounting clerk, for example. Like, let's say maybe you worked as an accounting clerk for 10 years, and I worked as an accounting clerk for 4 years, and then, after the 4 years, I then moved higher. I moved straight to the chief financial controller, which is the high level, and I do it for just 2 years. By me, being in that role of a chief financial controller, my experience now supersedes your experience because I've now been and experienced at a much higher level. So we can actually negate the fact that Trump, was American president, even though it was just for one term, And also another thing is that most Americans, let's face it, most Americans are tired of the Ukraine-Russian war. Let's face it, the Ukraine-Russian war has been going on for how many years now, and it doesn't seem that there's an end in sight. And a lot of Americans seem to be tired of that war, and they believe that if anybody can put a stop to that war, it will be Trump. Because let's face it, we are really in danger of of a possibility of a third world war. Let's face it. Americans right now, we pretty much love enjoyment and getting on about their lives and bringing their economy back on top in terms of globally, than to start wasting money on a war and start having to get involved in any war. So another reason why I think Trump won this election is we know is back again. I'll go back to what's happening in the Middle East. The Islamic terrorists in the Middle East, and also the popularity of Iran. Americans also believe that President Trump is the only one that can actually stop Iran advancing, especially with the chaos that's brewing in the Middle East. Another reason why I think Trump has won the election is because of the the influx of migrants. Fabiso says America is an institutional dictatorship. Yes, you might think that way, and yes, you're entitled to your opinion. That's always going to be controversial. That statement saying America is an institutional dictatorship. Yeah, like I was saying, another reason why I think Americans went with Trump is because of the immigration issue. Just like you South Africans, for example, are complaining about illegal immigrants in your country. A lot of Americans too are also tired of migrants trooping into their country. They believe that if the immigration is not checked, America is going to lose its glory. They believe that every Tom, Dick, and Harry is just being allowed to enter America. And especially like from Mexico, all the neighboring countries, and they believe that the immigration is not working with the Biden presidency. So they believe that only Trump can be can take that hard line approach and actually put immigration in check and make sure that people just don't come to America as if, guys, can you please tap and let's share this live, please. If you are just joining, please tap. Make sure you tap and share this live. I know if this topic was about that man that's been sleeping with people's wives, this place would have been full by now. But now we're talking politics and nobody's interested. But the truth that this presidency actually affects us more in Africa. Believe me or not, this presidency news, it affects us more in Africa than the news of that man that's been sleeping with people's wives. But people are more interested in those kind of trivial issues. And like I was saying, yes, Americans are tired of migrants into their country. Become a free for all, and everybody just comes in, and they believe that if immigration is not put into place, America will be in trouble and of losing its former glory. And also, let's look at the key differences in policies between Trump and Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris has been very vocal in her support of allowing migrants into the country, but Trump is also, is against undocumented migrants coming into the U.S., especially from all those Islamic countries, places like Africa as well, Haiti, Colombia, and Mexico. So in summary, Trump is against the flow of immigrants into America because A lot of these immigrants, they come in undocumented, they come in through the border, and Kamala Harris on the other hand, she's in favor of allowing immigrants into America. So this is a very, very is a very, very distinct views and policies. They're both very, very separate, different in their thinking and their ideology and their manifesto. So I think these are some of the reasons why President-elect, I should say, Trump actually won the election. Tabiso says Trump winning is not good for Africa. So do you think Kamala Harris winning would have been better for Africa? And if so, why do you say so? I want to know why you're thinking that way. If you think a Kamala Harris presidency would have been better for Africa, because you said Trump winning is not good for Africa. So I want to know why you follow that train of thought. I want to see, because let's face it, in terms of like if you look at the first Trump term as president, you can see in the first term, when the first time he was president of America, in terms of the if you look at the economy was doing really well. The American economy, it was revived and it was doing really, really well. And also, if you look at his impact in terms of global politics, I mean, for example, like he mended relationship with North Korea. He tried to kind of like befriend Putin. So he put a lot of conflicts under check. But you can see what has happened under Biden's presidency, especially in the Middle East and world peace. Everything has just gone, helter skelter. So Azania says, Tabiso, in what way Trump specifically? I wish you guys can come up the panel, so it's not like it's just me talking. Also, Becky in the comment says they both exploit Africa. Yes, but let's face it, it's just a case of going with the lesser of two evils, because let's face it or not, there has to be an American president, and he has to be one of these two candidates. Regardless, the West is always going to exploit Africa. That's why we as Africans, we need to get our act together. Oh, okay. Azania says, I can't request. I'm new on TikTok, so access to live. Okay, I understand. No problem. Somebody in the comments, Becky said they both exploit Africa. Let's face it, like the West is always going to exploit Africa. That's why we as Africans, we need to get our acts together and make sure we do the right thing, and we make sure that we unite. We in Africa, we always quick to blame the Muzungus. We always quick to blame the foreign the foreign powers. Let's face it, yes, to an extent they do exploit Africa. They exploit us in terms of our resources, in terms of our our mentality as well, and also financially they exploit us greatly. But having said that, a lot of ills that's happening in a lot of African countries now is caused by us Africans ourselves. The greed, corruption of the African leaders. That's one of the reasons why Africa is so backward. Africa is the richest continent in terms of resources, but yet Africa still remains the poorest continent economically and in terms of development and also innovation. And a lot of times we as Africans, we are quick to blame the West and blame our former colonial powers. But have we checked ourselves, in Africa, what we actually do to our own people? In Africa, we are so, governed by corruption, by segregation, ethnicism, religion. Those are the kind of things that breaks us apart as Africans, because we don't stick together. We're not united. You can see the recent spats between South Africa and Nigeria as an example. And also you can see what's happening in different, even small countries in Africa, like Burundi, like Equatorial Guinea. You can see what's currently trending in Equatorial Guinea now. And this act in Equatorial Guinea, this man that's been sleeping with people's wives, is actually exposed a lot of things. For example, in Equatorial Guinea, their president has been in power for 46 years. Imagine, that's just a dictatorship. The president has been in power for 46 years. And not only that, his son is actually now thinking of taking over. Imagine, so it's like a family business. Imagine a country where the president has been in power for the 6 years. Now the son wants to take over. You know, we can't just keep on blaming the West for all our problems. There's a lot of things that we're doing as well in Africa that's, you know, contrary to development in Africa. Tabeso says the right always has a supremacist way to achieve their objective in Africa. Azania says Trump is better for world peace, though. Kamala would have been a continuation of Biden. Yes, your objective in Africa. Azania says Trump is better for world peace, though. Kamala would have been a continuation of Biden. Yes, you're very right. That's what I said, you know, in my previous submissions, if you guys were listening. In terms of world peace, I think Trump is experienced, knows, you know, how to kind of like you know, calm all those powerful leaders like Putin and the North Korean leader. Because let's face it, the world peace now, especially in the Middle East, is very, very delicate. It's very, very, any given time, anything can explode. Especially with Israel, with Palestine, and now Iran. It's a very, very delicate, you know, delicate Israel, with Palestine, and now Iran. It's a very, very delicate, you know, delicate situation now. Given MVP says we really need to do better as Africa. We have the potential to even be the world power. Yes, you're right. We have potential, but then there's no point having potential if you're not going to you know, fulfill your potential and, you know, use your resources to the best of your ability. There's no point just saying, oh, we have potential, we have potential. Yes, we have potential. We have everything in Africa. We have the human, you know, we have the human capital. We have the intelligence as Africans. We have the resources. You name it. Every single resources that you need to thrive in the modern, you know, modern days in Africa. We have oil. We have diamonds. We have uranium. We have, you know, you name it. We have every single minerals you can think of in the world in Africa. But there's no point saying we have potential. We have uranium. We have, you know, you name it. We have every single minerals you can think of in the world in Africa. But there's no point saying we have potential, we have potential. But we're not using it. We are not utilizing our resources. Instead, we are busy fighting wars. We are busy being segregated. We are busy being, you know, just being like our number one worst enemies in Africa. Let me read the comments. MPV said, yeah. Tabiso says even Equatorial Guinea is their satellite state. Yes, because a lot of African leaders are corrupt. You know, instead of developing infrastructures in their country, a lot of African countries have the resources, you know, financially to develop, you know, their infrastructures, to have, you know, major hospitals. A lot of African leaders would rather travel to Germany, they would rather travel to the US, to the UK for their medical care. Whereas they have the means to actually develop their own hospitals, but, you know, their selfishness and their greed and corruption, they would rather squander and steal the country's resources than develop, you know, these major infrastructures. And at the end of the day, we're going to keep on blaming the West for all our problems. The biggest problem of the black man is the fellow black man. The biggest problem, Bongo says, just talk about Nigeria and not Africa. I don't understand. Okay, Becky says the lack of real history taught in schools and lack of self-worth value is killing our people. Yes, you are right, Becky. Bongo, I don't understand. You know, if you haven't got anything sensible to comment, you should just stay away from the comment. Because we're talking about Africa now. You're saying just talk about Nigeria, not Africa. Who are you to tell me what to talk about on my own platform? You're saying talk about Nigeria, not Africa. Are we not all Africans? So why can't I talk about Africa? Why must I always talk about Nigeria? As an African, don't I have the right to talk about Africa? Because I don't understand these comments. You saying just talk about Nigeria and not Africa. You see, this is one of the reasons why we are not progressive as a continent. This is the reason, one of the just talk about Nigeria and not Africa. You see, this is one of the reasons why we are not progressive as a continent. This is the reason, one of the reasons why we are not moving forward as a continent. Because instead of dealing with real issues, we rather, you know, keep on fighting amongst ourselves and, you know, dealing with irrelevant, you know, topics and discussions and all that. I'm here talking about the effects of Western powers on Africa now. Somebody is saying just talk about Nigeria. Some people, you just have to ignore them. Tabizo says ECOWAS need to change their alliance from West to Global South Alliance BRICS. Yes, you're right. You know, you're definitely right. You're definitely right about that assertion. There's a lot of things that we need to do better in Africa. We at the moment we are just like a, you know, we're just like a how do I say it? You know, we're just being pimped. We're just like a, you know, we're just like a how do I say it? You know, we're just being pimped. We're just being pimped by the rest of the world, both China, you know, the West and everything. That's we're just been. Yes, Becky says tribalism and religion is a major default. I'm sorry to say that we'll never be free. Yes, you're very, very right. Because if you look at it properly, you know, the issues that keep us from developing in Africa is not present in the rest of the other continents. Because if you look at it, for example, like you know, in the West, there's nothing like, oh, you are from this tribe, I'm from this tribe. That, you know, let's my leader, our president needs to be from this tribe. You know, these are kind of things that you know, making from this tribe. That, you know, let's my leader, our president needs to be from this tribe. You know, these are kind of things that you know, making us just, you know, go backwards in Africa. And also religion. It's always religion. Oh, if you are the minority, if you are the majority, what's your religion? What religion is your president? You know, like it's like you know, it's almost like the black man is cursed when I think about it. Lumka says it's about time for us as Africans to take responsibility. Yes, you are right. You are very, very right. And like Tabiso mentioned earlier, I think BRICS, the new alliance in terms of currency, you know, which Russia and which other country are pioneering, I think it will be, you know, important as well to challenge the dollar, because we all know dollar is the major global currency, and you know, all of us in Africa, we are almost you know, subdued by the almighty dollar. I mean, for example, now, because a lot of things, you know, is traded in dollar, you know, like from oil and to everything, you know. And in Nigeria, for example, now the dollar is running is running routes. The dollar is just stamping on the naira, kicking the naira. The dollar is just doing what it likes with the naira at the moment. Things are very, very expensive in Nigeria at the moment. People are really struggling. People are suffering. Yes, Lumka says, I'm honestly happy he won. Yes, because people are saying, somebody was saying that, you know, both, I can't remember who said both parties are not good for Africa. But, you know, whether you like it or not, America is going to have a president. And, you know, it's just a case of choosing the lesser of two evils. The lesser of two evils. And I think another reason why what's her name, Kamala Harris didn't win, she didn't actually, you know, like a lot of, she didn't really identify with you know, the black people. She kept on saying that she was she was saying she's I think Asian American or something, you know. And I think she's got some black you know, heritage in her as well, when you look at her background, but kind of something, you know. And I think she's got some black you know, heritage in her as well, when you look at her background. But a lot of people didn't trust her, even people that you know, Democrats, even people that belong to her party. I had the privilege of engaging some of them, you know. No, I'm not saying she's black, but she has some black in her. You know, like you know, America is different when it comes to mixed race, people of mixed heritage. For example, like if you remember Obama was half white and it was half black, but yet they always refer to him as being black. But it was actually mixed race. You know, if we are really trying to be politically correct, Obama was actually mixed race, but you know, they refer to him as a black man. The same thing with this Prince Harry's wife, Meghan Markle. She's also mixed race, but they refer to her as black. No, she's not black. She's mixed race. You can't negate one, you know, race and just, you know, and then just focus on one. If you're black, she's mixed race. You can't negate one, you know, race and just, you know, and then just focus on one. If you're mixed, you're mixed. And I think a lot of voters, a lot of the American voters didn't trust, Kamala, especially because of her views on certain topics, especially with the, like I've mentioned earlier, with the situation in Israel, because she condemned Israel, like she should have been really, really careful about, condemnation of Israel, because obviously Israel and America, they've been, America is like Israel's big brother, and it's been like that for a long time. America is Israel's biggest ally, so for you to be trying to get into the biggest office arguably in the whole world, and for you to criticize Israel is almost like a taboo kind of thing. And let's face it, I don't think America, I don't mean to be, to discriminate against our other gender, because I think women are very, very important. Women are great, but to be honest with you guys, I don't think America is ready for a female president. If we are being honest, America is not yet ready for a female president, especially if you think about what's going on in the world at the moment in terms of world global peace as well, with the situation in the Middle East, the situation in with Russia and Ukraine as well. A lot of people didn't trust. I'm not saying that women are not placed with situation in with Russia and Ukraine as well. A lot of people didn't trust. I'm not saying that women are not capable, but a lot of people just didn't trust that Kamala Harris had what it takes to kind of bring about change and bring about an improvement in world peace and global politics. Yes, Becky says mixed race is mixed race. You want drop rules in US is yes, yes. I understand what you're saying, Becky. I definitely understand what you're saying. You're definitely right. You're definitely right. You're definitely right. Yeah, so like I was saying, also with the issue of immigration in America as well. A lot of Americans feel like America is now turning into like a free for all. Like everybody who is anybody is just coming into America. And you remember what happened during Trump's first presidency? What he was doing with the wall, and with also Mexico. So a lot of Americans also think that since the Biden presidency, America has become like really, really open. It's, and there's a lot of illegal immigrants that have actually just forward into the country, and this is one of the other reasons why Americans seem to have gone with Trump. So it's those issues definitely. The truth is just the fact of the matter is just that America is not yet ready for a female president, because and also Israel's security. I've talked about that as well. And also another key thing as well, because I followed the American presidential elections closely. Also, in as much as Americans support freedom, they support equality, they support liberalism. The way Kamala Harris kind of like our stance, our position when it comes to topics like LGBT, abortion, and also gender equality and all those being genderless and everything, also didn't sit well with a lot of Americans. A lot of people didn't really like our stance on issues like LGBTQ, abortion, and all that as well. So that's what I think one of the some of the reasons why Kamala Harris lost the election. And one of the other key points was also the Ukraine and Russian war, because Americans probably believe that Trump, he has the experience, he has the might to be able to influence what's going on with Russia and Ukraine. And they feel like, if somebody like Kamala Harris goes in, he's probably going to make the situation even worse. And, and also with the situation in the Middle East, with the Islamic terrorists in the Middle East, and also growing popularity of Iran, and power of Iran. They feel like these are just delicate issues that letting somebody who is not experienced go into that powerful office is almost like a recipe for disaster. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see how Trump does in his presidency. With all the things that I've mentioned, it'll be very interesting to see, how he does, as long as he can stay away from from all these scandals, those kind of scandals that affected him in his first term as president. Hopefully, if he can navigate through, because I'm sure as soon as it becomes, they start digging up other, scandalous news about him now. And I just hope, there won't be any of those scandals that will be a distraction to his presidency and, things of that nature. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to speak on those scandals that will be a distraction to his presidency and, things of that nature. Anyway, quickly, and I'll be live again in a couple of hours. Thank you guys for joining. And if you're not following, please follow, because on this platform, we discuss a lot of topical issues, a lot of intellectual issues that are affecting us, not just in Africa, but also globally. And we also discuss trending